Israel launches a ground offensive into Gaza, its forces will have to deal with a sophisticated network of tunnels under the territory.
Ahead of a potential ground offensive against Hamas, Israel is now reportedly considering flooding the underground tunnels of the militant group. This has been stated by U.S. senior investigative journalist seawater.
According to several veteran investigative journalists, Israel is allegedly considering flooding the terrorist group's underground tunnels ahead of a future ground operation against Hamas. This new war tactic has caught the terrorist group Hamas off guard and severely hampered their attempts to flee. But what will happen to Hamas and these underground passageways as the seawater moves through the tunnel lines? Will this strategy be used throughout the entire ship? Is this the most efficient way to bring the terrorists out of the underground? Stay tuned to find out. Unexpectedly, Israeli forces have flooded the biggest tunnels in the Gaza Strip with seawater, leaving thousands of militants stranded and helpless. Recent events in the volatile Gaza Strip have drawn attention and raised eyebrows. It appears that the release of hostages in exchange for humanitarian aid has had an interesting effect on the fierce fighting between the Israeli army and the infamous terrorist group Hamas. Things started to calm down when the first group of hostages, who were from the city of Rafah, were freed. This was followed by a second group from the West Bank. These goodwill gestures were meant to ease tensions and stop bloodshed in the war-torn region, and they appear to have been somewhat successful in doing so. However, the Israeli army has not taken this newfound peace for granted. The Israeli Defense Forces, or the IDF, decided that it was necessary to launch a major operation using new and innovative war tactics to trap and dismantle the Hamas tunnel network in Gaza as part of their relentless ground offensive. This time, however, the stakes seemed higher because the hostage crisis only served to exacerbate an already precarious situation. They acted quickly to prevent any resurgence of terrorist activities within Gaza Street. Their intelligence suggested that the Hamas organization was seriously preparing for critical operations within their labyrinth underground tunnels. These tunnels have long been a source of frustration for security forces, specifically at Batnan, Baha Jabalia, Alati, and Zun Camp. The IDF made an important and distressing findings in the southern Gaza colony.
Israel says it's destroying Hamas in Gaza, above ground and below, targeting what it says are 300 miles of Hamas tunnels. Military officials showed NBC News videos they say were taken in the northern Gaza city of Beit Hanun.
The scale of Hamas's preparations during the hostage crisis is extremely concerning. The IDF, never one to back down from a decisive move, wasted no time in surrounding the infamous Jabalia region. Its strategic importance cannot be overstated, as it has become a hotbed for Hamas activity. The approach was calculated and brutal, with dozens of tunnel shafts coming to an end at the hands of IDF forces. Reports suggest that numerous Hamas tunnel lines have recently been unearthed, offering a glimpse into the intricate web of their underground network. The latest reports from the Israeli Defense Forces has sent shockwaves through the world as it reveals a sinister strategy employed by the Hamas and the Gaza Strip. Additionally, numerous Hamas headquarters and ammunition depot were decimated in the Alati camp, leaving an indelible mark of destruction. However, the operation did not end there. The IDF soldiers marched onward, their determination unwavering into the treacherous terrain of Zun, eliminating weapons, terror camps, and most troublingly, the complex web of Hamas tunnel networks built underneath the foundations of public areas were sealed and destroyed. The IDF has taken decisive action, discovering and eliminating approximately 400 tunnel shafts that were used by Hamas due to the efforts of elite forces from the Yahalom Combat Engineering Unit. The discovery of these tunnels is just the tip of the iceberg of a much larger and more alarming battle plan that the IDF has been conducting. In a recent revelation that has left the world in disbelief, it has been revealed that the terrorist organization has been using innocent Palestinian civilians as human shields, hiding their infrastructure deep within civilian buildings and other sensitive areas. As the watery onslaught began, the once covert tunnels slowly began to fill, rendering them useless to the terrorists. This unprecedented tactic aims to not only disrupt Hamas's operations, but also expose their complete disregard for human life. A video released by the Israeli Defense Forces shows Israeli soldiers drawing water from the sea and moving it through the long pipes to the entrance points of Hamas's underground tunnel network. This creative strategy has been successful in exposing Hamas's weakness and its capacity to exploit innocent Palestinians. The IDF does not take accusations of Hamas using human shields lightly. By concealing their infrastructure within civilian buildings like homes, schools, and hospitals, Hamas has demonstrated that they do not care about the security and welfare of the Palestinian people. This heinous strategy has compelled the Israeli military to take extreme measures to protect civilians, while destroying the terror networks that have afflicted the Gaza Strip for far too long. However, the question still stands as to how Hamas was able to establish such a complex and wide network of tunnels in the first place. The answer lies in their cunning nature, which allowed them to create covert underground passages that allowed them to move freely and launch deadly attacks against both Israeli soldiers and civilians. It is important to note that the IDF has been working to neutralize the threat posed by Hamas. Although the IDF's actions are drastic, they are necessary to protect the Israeli population and maintain stability in the region. The IDF has unveiled a strategy to combat important tunnel lines in Gaza, where the notorious Hamas terrorist organization hides its leadership. The discovery of this new war tactic has sparked considerable speculation about what other revolutionary strategies the Israeli military might have up its sleeve as the world struggles with the consequences of these shocking revelations. This clever scheme aims to destroy the subterranean weapons store and access to roads that serve as a refuge for Hamas's senior terror commanders, utilizing the seawater passing through the pipes. By utilizing this technique, the IDF intends to install underwater tunnels in place of the current subterranean tube lines, preventing Hamas from utilizing them for its evil purposes. The terrorist group is frantically trying to come up with a solution after being taken off guard by this unexpected and effective technique. One of the main effects of this strategy is that it makes it more difficult for Hamas to move its leaders and commanders to safer areas. This setback couldn't have come at a worse time, as the IDF is currently trying to enter Gaza from the north. Hamas is trying to escape to the south of the Gaza Strip. This is because the IDF coordinated the flooding of the underground tunnel lines. Now, as he is trying to make his way through this dangerous position, the terrorist group Hamas is up against it. They are caught off guard and bewildered, and they find themselves in a difficult situation where their escape plans and movement are significantly hampered by the fact that formerly accessible underground pathways have flooded. As we learn more about this development, we see that the IDF's strategy was a well-thought-out plan that successfully halted Hamas's operations by flooding the tunnel lines with salt water. In doing so, the IDF has essentially eliminated Hamas's means of conducting its operations, causing the terrorist organization to struggle to find alternate ammunition sources as its underground weapons depot becomes flooded. The timing of this strategy is crucial because as the IDF attempts to enter Gaza from the north, Hamas finds itself cornered and its escape route to the south has been severely compromised, making it increasingly difficult for their leaders and commanders to flee. The IDF's flooding of the tunnel lines has created a bottleneck effect, trapping Hamas within the Gaza Strip. This unexpected move by the IDF has caused Hamas to rethink the entire network. It presents a whole new set of challenges, as Hamas now has to figure out how to navigate underwater, a far more intricate and difficult task. In addition to trying to flood tunnel lines in Gaza's north and center with seawater, Hamas is currently preparing to carry out several operations in the Gaza Strip. Israel's security is seriously threatened by this tactic, which they hope will counter Hamas's efforts. It is imperative that Israel acts swiftly, strategically, and successfully to safeguard the security of its citizens and guard its borders. Alright guys, that will be all for today. Make sure to like and subscribe, and let us know what you think of this action by Israel in the comments below.